You're listening to the APSE Podcast, the Association of People Supporting Employment First, with your host, Chris Davies. Today's podcast is brought to you by Reach for Resources, a nonprofit providing individualized, competitive employment services for people with disabilities. We believe our community is a better place when it is inclusive and everyone, regardless of ability, has the chance to be successful. Learn more at reachforresources.org.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Minnesota APSE Podcast. I can't believe it's Season 5 and already Episode 4. But here we are, Season 5, Episode 4, ready to cook off. We're so excited to have Rahul Gupta with us today. And we're going to get to know Rahul, and he's going to tell us his story and personal journey through employment. Very excited for all of you to learn more about Rahul and all that he's accomplished. So thanks for being here, Rahul.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. The pleasure's all ours. Well, as many of the audience members know out there, I always like to start out talking a little bit about National APSE, Minnesota APSE, particularly for anybody who's watching this. Maybe it's one of your friends, Rahul, that has never heard of APSE before. We are the only national organization that is solely dedicated to customized employment for all, for people with disabilities, real jobs, real wages. We have state chapters, about 40 state chapters right now throughout the United States. Of course, Minnesota has one. Minnesota was actually one of the original chapters in APSE. And as part of what we do here in Minnesota is we produce this podcast. And so we get to have wonderful people like you, Rahul, to come in and tell their stories and enlighten us, if you will. So we're all excited to get going. Before we do that, I want to just do quick visual descriptions of ourselves. I'll start with myself. So I am a white male. I am bald. I have a red beard. Today I'm wearing a short sleeve button-up shirt because it's such a nice, lovely spring to summer day out there. How about you?
Yes, I have brown skin, black hair. I have a growth for growing a beard, and I'm wearing. Sorry, I need to go back. Yep. So.
Yeah, just a little bit of a.
So no beard. Okay. All right. Yes, I have brown skin, I have black hair, and I have no beard. And I wear a cochlear implant, and I have a black shirt.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rahul. Okay, well, let's get into it, as I like to say. We're going to start out with just simply learning more about you. So if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, anything you'd like our audience, out there to know about yourself.
Yes, I would be happy to share my experiences. I was born in India. And then later, my family and I moved to the United States when I was about 4 years old. And I moved to Philadelphia, and I went to a deaf school. And then I started learning American Sign Language. And then my family decided to move here to Minnesota, down in Rochester. And my father sent me to a mainstream school where I was with other deaf and hard of hearing students. And then I had the cochlear implant, but I was still missing out on communication. There was no interpreters at that time, and so I felt I was getting behind on my education. And then I had deaf and hard of hearing teachers that exposed me to the deaf culture and my deaf identity. They helped me get interpreters, and then I began to develop my identity and through that.
Yeah, very good. So you also, as you were learning, some communication, on some of the notes that you sent me, you said you had learned a little bit about signing exact English and simultaneous communication. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. So when I was younger and I went to the deaf school, I learned basic American Sign Language. But when I moved here to Minnesota and I had a cochlear implant, I was required to take speech therapy to develop my speech, and then total communication is signed exact English. So I would sign, my name is Rahul. I am from India. So it's exact English, but in American Sign Language, I would sign something like, my name, Rahul, from India. So the sentence structures is very different to signed exact English. And so with total communication, I also used my voice. I would speak, hello, how are you? Where are you from? So I would use my voice while I signed.
I see. Okay, very good. Thank you. And it certainly sounds like your family was very instrumental in helping you get your footing, and as you said, sort of to a place where you could start finding your identity.
Yes, they were fully supportive, and they cared a lot about me, and they didn't want me to miss any opportunities and to find the right options for me. My parents wanted to make sure that I grew and that I improved in all areas of my life.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Do your parents live in Rochester as well?
Yes, my father is in Rochester, and my mother lives in the D.C. area, but she will be moving to Texas. She'll be teaching at the university. So that should be next month, hopefully.
Okay. So are you talking about the University of Texas in Austin?
Yes. It's actually a smaller community, like around next to Houston, about 2 hours from Houston.
Okay.
There's a university there.
Sure. Very good. Well, you have some cool places to go visit, that's for sure. So, one thing I know our audience would like to hear more about are maybe some of the barriers you faced to employment. So, tell us a little bit more about that, about some of those barriers.
Yes. So this is common for other individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing as well. Even those who might wear hearing aids or those who can use their voice, but sometimes if the battery is out, if they wear hearing aids, then they can't hear anything at all. But for me, I would write notes if my hearing aids didn't work, but people weren't very patient. And so it was frustrating to try to be in communication with people. So the burden of communication was more on me than others.
Yeah, I can see that's a lot to kind of carry on your shoulders, I would imagine, as you're going into every workforce. Probably, please tell me if I'm correct in assuming you feel a lot of the responsibility on you to create the accessibility rather than going into a workforce where they're ready, willing, and able to be accessible for some of these communication barriers.
Yes. Throughout my experience in mainstream schools, I had interpreters with me, but once I was out in the world on my own, I didn't feel ready on how do I communicate with hearing people out in the community, and it created a lot of anxiety. So I isolated myself for quite a while, but then I attended Gallaudet University, and that's a university for deaf, and my mother wanted me to go there to continue to develop my identity. And that was the first time that I became exposed more to the deaf community. That's
Sure.
where I developed my deaf identity. I gained some confidence. So when I was out in the hearing world, I decided I will take the initiative to communicate with people through texting. And if that didn't work, then I would use gestures
Sure.
until we were able to form some type of communication.
Yeah, very good. I think we'll probably get into it a little bit as we get going, but I know in your current job, which you're going to tell us all about, I'm really I'll like to know more about your coworkers and whether they have sort of taken some steps themselves to maybe learn some sign language, different ways you all can communicate. So as we get use that as a segue, if you will, to to finding employment, the steps, say, before where you are now, talk about how you started to find your footing and actually, feel like you were finding some meaningful employment out there.
Yes, as I mentioned, once I was in high school, I had no idea of what was available for me. A deaf and hard of hearing teacher started working with me on how to find employment. So they connected me with vocational rehabilitation services. And so the students and I, there was a woman her name was Chandra, and she knew American Sign Language. She was a voc rehab counselor. And so she explained the services to us and talked about what options or careers we were interested in. And so she worked with me through that during my high school years. And then I graduated in 2017. Then I went to Gallaudet University. And then I was part of the English Language Institute. So it otherwise known as ELI. And they would help me improve my English skills. And also, I gained exposure with the deaf community to gain my identity and self-confidence. But it was still a struggle. When I was in D.C., I faced a lot of challenges. I felt frustration, and I didn't know how to apply for jobs. So I left Gallaudet in 2001, and I returned here to Minnesota. And my father then helped and encouraged me to look for a job. So I applied at FedEx, and that was my first part-time job. And I was working with packages, but that was a very short time. I resigned. And then VR helped me and to apply to Hy-Vee. And then they added services called Career Ventures Incorporated, another vendor. And they helped me improve my job readiness skills, help develop my resume to identify all the experiences I've had, and my communication and interview skills. And then they helped me through my application process. And that's how I started.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yes, I am familiar with Career Ventures down in Rochester. So you got your feet wet at FedEx and Hy-Vee, and that was sort of the springboard, to where you are now. Tell us about how you learned about the opportunities at the Mayo Clinic and how you got into the pharmaceutical world.
Yes, as I mentioned, I was working part-time while I was in college and studying administration professional office. And they were helping me develop my technology skills and my professional skills. And so I was working part-time while I was going to school. So during that time, I wanted a job that was stable and more of a career. And so there was a job fair at the Mayo Clinic. So I attended the job fair, and I looked at other options that they had available, but then they mentioned the pharmacy technician. So I asked more questions about what this entailed, and I decided this is what I would like to do. So I applied and I did my best, and it was approved. And they invited me in for an interview. I went in with an interpreter. They hired me. And they said that they would provide interpreters throughout all of my training until I felt comfortable in my job and that I knew all my responsibilities. And then I could move forward without an interpreter.
Yeah, that is great. Well, that is the way it should be. That is fantastic. It sounds like you didn't even that the Mayo Clinic was very proactive in giving you the support you needed. A little different from the experiences you talked about before, where you had to really, carry the being the impetus for getting the accessibility you needed.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that is great. And so tell us exactly how long have you now been, you are, from what I understand, a certified pharmacy technician, is that right?
I'm still I'm studying to be a PTCB.
Okay.
But once I'm certified, then I will move up to a higher level. And so I'm still working on that process, and I'm studying for that.
Very good. Do you have any, even further out goals in the pharmacy world in terms of level you'd like to achieve?
Well, right now, I'm just looking for opportunities to increase my skills and my options, and that way I can be more independent in my work life.
Yeah, very good. Very good. One thing we always like to really talk about here, and this is sort of where the meat of the conversation happens, is, what kind of hopes and dreams you might have and advice you might have, for anyone, facing barriers, in particular communication barriers, out there. Tell us about your hopes and dreams for the future.
Well, my dream is I would like to help deaf, blind, hard of hearing people with disabilities, to encourage them to develop their skills and their self-confidence. And if they feel like they're not succeeding, I would say apply to VR, and that they can provide those supports. And if you're interested in going to college, you could go for vocational training and pick a trade. But yes, just something that they can develop themselves.
Sure. Have you ever been asked to say go back to a college or university and tell your story, talk to students, about the possibilities that are out there?
I haven't done that yet, but when I'm socializing with other deaf people and they're sharing their experiences and their frustrations, I listen to what they have to share, and then I provide them tips and encouragement and talk to them about the process. Yeah, so I'm always offering advice if they are asking for it, and giving them encouragement and to stay positive.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, any opportunity I think that you might get to either be in front of an audience or with somebody one-on-one, you have a lot of great knowledge and demonstrated perseverance that you could certainly pass along, and help more folks not be, if they are fearful about getting out into the workforce, some great opportunities. Just coming on here today and talking to us and telling your story is a great way to get that message out.
Yes, I'm very happy to share my experience and to show what can be done.
Very good. Very good. Well, do you have any parting words of wisdom you'd like to share with the audience, today?
Yes. The one thing to remember is that if you're deaf, hard of hearing, deaf, blind, or a person with a disability, don't worry what other people are thinking or what their skills are. Think about your own skills and who you want to be and develop those. And whether you're applying for a job or going to the university or to college, continue to advance yourself and develop your confidence.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great advice for anyone, and what they do in life is really be true to yourself, is something I'm taking away, from that. Yeah, so I appreciate it. Well, you made the trip all the way up here from Rochester this morning. So, Rahul Gupta, thank you so much for making the effort and coming here to tell us your story and share some words of wisdom, with our audience.
Yes, I've really enjoyed sharing my story. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And you know what? I don't think I ever actually introduced myself. I think a lot of people know who I am, but again, I'm Chris Davies, the host of the Minnesota APSI podcast. Our producer is Dana Eisfeld. You can't see him, but he's back there behind the curtain making all the magic happen here today. So appreciate that. Appreciate that, Dana, as always. He makes us look good, wouldn't you say, Rahul?
Yes, he does.
All right. So, before I close out, I do want to say that Rahul has guaranteed that the Timberwolves will win the NBA championship next year. So here we go.
Let's hope. And the Vikings, I hope.
Oh, there you go. Well, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to just say something. It's kind of sad and kind of funny. So, I'm 56, Rahul. So I've been following the Vikings since about 1975. Okay, when my father passed away a couple years ago, I said to my girlfriend, I said, my dad never got to see the Vikings to win the Super Bowl in his lifetime. And my girlfriend said to me, well, don't worry, honey, you won't either. It was funny. So anyway, on that note, just everybody out there, don't give up. If you want to work, if you have the desire to work, you can work. And if you believe it, you can achieve it.